Good evening and welcome to St. George's University School of Medicine White Coat Ceremony Part 2. Before I begin, I would like to welcome some special guests. The Minister for Health and Social Security, the Honorable Nicholas Steele. Chancellor Charles Modica. Provost Dr. Alan Penzick. Vice Provost for Educational Services, Dr. Glenn Jacobs. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Matthew Winier. Your Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Steve Weitzman. The Dean of the School of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Timothy Ogilvie. And the Dean of Basic Sciences, Dr. Mario Slukas. My name is John Madden. I graduated from St. George's way back in 1981, before our students who are being welcomed into the medical profession this evening were even born. I am the Associate Dean of Students in the United States and an emergency physician in Delaware. It is my pleasure to be the Master of Ceremony this evening. The basic science studies here in Grenada and clinical programs in both the United States and the United Kingdom will not only provide you with the world-class education, but expose you to different healthcare systems and cultures. You will make lifelong friends as you experience the trials and tribulations of being a medical student. It will not be easy. Working together and helping each other over any hurdles you may encounter, you will all be entering the clinical training program in just 2 short years. The White Coat Ceremony was started by Dr. Arnold Gold at Columbia in 1993 and is meant to be ceremonial cloaking as the physician-to-be embarks on their lifelong educational journey. While lab coats were originally beige in color, when adapted by the medical profession, white was chosen. Early photographs at the Massachusetts General Hospital in 1899 shows surgeons with short-sleeve white coats over their street clothes. As an emergency physician, I do not always wear my white coat, since I often care for patients who are bleeding, spitting, vomiting, and as anyone who has changed the diaper of a baby boy has experienced, you sometimes have to dodge a stream of urine coming in your direction. But I do put on the white coat when I speak to a family of a trauma victim who is critically ill, or someone's spouse, when I have to explain that their partner for the last 60 years is unable to come home with them tonight. I put on the white coat as it symbolizes professionalism, caring, and trust. While receiving your white coat this evening represents your initiation into our profession, it also serves as a reminder to our faculty of the importance of teaching and reminds us all to continue to embrace the humanistic and ethical practice of medicine. It is my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Charles Modica, Chancellor and Chairman of the Board of Trustees of St. George's University, to make a few remarks.
Thank you, Dr. Madden, and welcome to our new incoming students, Part B. We have a ceremony for you today that allows a few people to speak to you that don't ordinarily do so. I am one of them. In fact, I generally see students at this ceremony and hopefully graduation, about 4 years to follow, according to my calculations. It's a day that you should recognize the importance of what you're about to do, and academically and taking oaths and all the things that you do here at this university in the next 4 years will allow you to entry into a very great profession. At the same time, you're following students that did as well or better before you and have set a certain standard at this university. Dr. Madden himself came in the second class of this university. And you might say, well, I guess it probably hasn't changed very much. Well, of every building, of every brick, every shutter, every step on this campus is new since he's been here. There was nothing here that's here today when he was a student. In fact, there were very primitive buildings. We didn't have a lot of air conditioning. In fact, we didn't have any air conditioning, which was a good thing because our electric bill now stands at about 32,000 US dollars a day. So I guess in those days we had a lot less of an electric bill to pay. One of our grads just a few minutes ago outside, we were talking in the hallway out there, reminded me of him. He ended up at Yale, by the way. He did pretty well as a graduate, and he just white-coated his daughter. He talked about his biochemistry final. There was one particular exam where they had to leave the lecture hall to take the exam, and it was a nighttime exam, and because the lights had gone out, it was getting hot, and they were used to that. They all carried flashlights, and they learned how to actually keep the flashlight in their mouth as they're writing. Yeah. So, and he had one of the best stories. If he hadn't ended up at Yale, I wouldn't have believed this story, but he reminded me, this is like 30x years later, and I just heard this. Otherwise, I would have forgotten it by now. I'm getting old. I have a short memory here. But he said that he put his papers down, and they considered this his ghost story of biochemistry, because as he finished, a little while later, his exam was gone. And you know what happened? A goat ate it. But this is true. So, the elephant stole my homework or sat on my homework. It can be true here. So you won't have that experience. You'll have a lot of good things, electricity, air conditioning, all the amenities that you need. But you know what? You'll work just as hard as they have. It'll be a little easier, but you'll work just as hard. And when I see you again in 4 years, hopefully not in between, because that's usually some kind of trouble, something happened or whatever. So I'll wave to you if I see you on campus. But formally, I see you again in 4 years. And having done this for a lot of years now, I've got to tell you, it goes fast. It won't go so fast for you, but it goes fast for me, and you're at graduation. When you get to graduation, I want to know that you learned more than becoming physicians, more than you have a really great, talented faculty that cares about you, that loves to teach. I want you to know that when you get to that day, 4 years from now, you will be as qualified as any graduate of any medical school in the world. And our board scores prove that. But I want you to know that you went into a school with people from all over the world. You entered a tiny country with a big heart. Every culture, creed, race, religion, it's right here. Your colleagues and best friends, study mates, and friends for life will be all of those people. And in a world where people can't get along, where people kill each other for religious, political, or whatever reason they can think of, you want to help cure people. And you want to love each other. And I'm not talking about bananas on Friday night. Yeah. It was getting so good. I was getting emotionally charged, so I had to make a joke. I get teary-eyed too easily. I'm Italian. I'm an old Italian guy. But I do want you to love each other, care about each other, respect each other, know each other's religions, respect that religion. If you can do that when you leave here in 4 years, you've learned a lot more than medicine. And you're a generation that will help change the world. God bless you. And I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the new Minister of Health of Grenada, Nicholas Steele, to say a few words.
Thank you, Chancellor. Welcome to you all. Let me take this opportunity to welcome those of you who are not fortunate to call yourselves Grenadians as yet. I think you will all call yourselves Grenadians by the time you leave. Welcome you to Grenada. We are indeed proud of St. George's University, and I'd like to think that St. George's University is also proud of us, Grenada. It's a relationship that we continue to build on. It's a relationship that we intend to move to the next step, which is that we are all proud of healthcare in Grenada as well. You will participate in this. As far as I'm concerned, out there, you should not see yourselves simply as future doctors, but as future agents of change. You are the ones that will make a difference in tomorrow's healthcare system. You cannot practice medicine until you are qualified, but you can start practicing being an agent of change now, here in Grenada, making a difference. Leave more than just your footprints. Enjoy us, get to experience this wonderful country that we call home, get to call it your second home. Respect us, we will respect you. Have fun at Bananas and elsewhere on Grand Anse Beach, etc. I don't think you will find another university in the world that has this level of excellence, but also this beautiful surrounding. So consider yourselves fortunate in the same way that we consider ourselves fortunate with the experience we share with SGU. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Steele and Chancellor Modica. I now invite Dr. Stephen Weitzman, Dean of the School of Medicine, to the podium to make a few comments. One. How about three?
Well, welcome to you all. This is always a very nice occasion for me to see a new group of students start. I want to take the opportunity to tell you in about 30 seconds what's going to happen in the next 2 years. At that time, you're going to be learning something that traditionally has been called preclinical part of medical school, but it's not preclinical. It's actually quite clinical. In fact, it's critical for clinical training. And if in 2 years, when it's time to move into the hospitals, you have to have essentially earned that right to take care of a sick, vulnerable patient. And you do that by learning this material. In fact, forget learning material. You have to master this material. And if someday there's a person sitting in front of you and says, you know, I really have a pain over here someplace, you have to think back to your anatomy and realize there are probably about 10 structures here that could be involved. And if at some time the laboratory calls you and tells you that there's a high level of lactic acid in someone's blood, you have to go back to your biochemistry and think, whoa, where did that lactic acid come from? What does that signify? So if you want to help people, you have to really master this material. So that is by way of a pep talk. Like I said, I always liked the white coat ceremony. I had the honor of meeting Arnold P. Gold several years ago when we first started this. And interestingly enough, he was a foreign medical graduate. He's a U.S. citizen. He said, you know, I applied to about 30 U.S. medical schools and didn't get in. So I went abroad to learn, and now he's a full professor of neurology, pediatric neurology at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital, Physicians and Surgeons. So he felt very much at home when he first addressed this group. So we all expect wonderful things from you. Some people want you to go have fun at Bananas. I want you to have fun studying anatomy. It's a great field. Biochemistry is even better. And micro is really a lot of fun. But in any event, I would like to make a date with you. Let me get out my calendar here. People still laugh at me because I carry a pad and pencil. So I'll be back to meet with you in the fall of 2016. At that time, we'll talk about moving on into the clinical training area. And then another date, what's that going to be? 2019? when we'll see you all at graduation. So have a good time. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weitzman. The Arnold P. Gold Foundation created the White Coat Ceremony in 1993 to promote humanism in medicine. St. George's University School of Medicine initiated its own White Coat Ceremony in 1996, long before many U.S. medical schools started their own. In 2003, the Gold Foundation founded the Gold Humanism Honor Society, which is an international society dedicated to the promotion of humanism, professionalism, and ethics in medical practice and education. St. George's University annually inducts new members into its chapter of Gold Humanism Honor Society. St. George's chapter of this society established the Humanitarian Student Organization in 2009, through which preclinical students like yourselves can engage in service activities for their communities with support from the Gold Foundation. The 2014 member names are listed on the last page of your program. These inductees are presently doing their fourth year clinical rotations and getting ready for graduation this June, and we honor their embodiment of Gold Humanism Honor Society ideals and their efforts to provide humane, caring, and professional patient care. Our guest speaker this evening has a most impressive background in medicine, bioethics, and patient safety. Dr. Winier is Director of Physician and Patient Engagement for Improving Health Outcomes at the American Medical Association and Director of the Center for Bioethics and Humanities at the University of Colorado. Dr. Winier's training is in internal medicine, infectious disease, public health, and health services research. He attended the Oregon Health Sciences University, School of Medicine, and the Harvard University School of Public Health. Dr. Winier completed his internal medicine residency at the Deaconess Hospital in Boston, where he also served as chief resident, followed by a fellowship in geographic medicine and infectious disease at the Tufts New England Medical Center. Dr. Winier's career has included developing a research institute and training programs focusing on bioethics, professionalism, and policy issues, the AMA Institute for Ethics, and founding the AMA Center for Patient Safety. Dr. Winier is past president of the American Society of Bioethics and Humanities and has chaired the Ethics Forum of the American Public Health Association and the Ethics Committee of the Society for General Internal Medicine. Dr. Winier is author of more than 140 articles, chapters, and essays, and is co-editor of several books. His work has been published in several prestigious journals, and he has discussed his work as a guest on the BBC, ABC News, and the National Public Radio. He currently splits his time between administrative and research responsibilities at the AMA in Chicago and the University of Colorado. This July, he will move with his family to Colorado to serve as the director of the university's Center for Bioethics and Humanities. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Matt Winier.
Hi, thank you for that warm introduction, and it's a real privilege and an honor for me to do this white coat talk. I give a lot of talks. This is actually the second white coat talk I've ever given, the first one being 20 minutes ago. My task today is to welcome you to the profession of medicine, and I flew over here from Chicago with my wife, who said, whatever you do, I hope you're not schmaltzy or preachy. And it's almost impossible to do this talk without getting a little schmaltzy or a little preachy or a little of both. But I'm going to do my best. So let me start with this. Of those of you who are entering medical students, just show of hands, how many of you were told by a doctor that you shouldn't go into medicine? Okay, that's almost everyone. So it turns out that is not that surprising. Um, it may be different in other countries, but in the US, the surveys we're getting back now, AMA surveys and others show maybe 50% or more of American doctors say they wouldn't recommend the profession to their children. Why is that? And we're doing work to try and figure this out. And the reasons that people give are mainly around the theme of it's not what I expected it to be. I went through a lot of work. I spent a lot of time and resources to become a physician, and now I feel like I'm someone's employee. I'm being forced to learn a new electronic record system, and then 6 months later I have to learn another one, and it doesn't make my life easier. And I feel disempowered. So this isn't schmaltzy yet, right? So you all heard that. You presumably heard that from people whom you know and trust and love, and yet you are still here today. So why is that? I think your presence in this room is a testament to the enduring value and special sort of intrinsic nature of the work that we are all embarked upon. After all, there's really just one important question in all of life. And by being here today, you have answered that question. The question that means the most to anyone is, how should I spend my time? I was speaking the other day with Ray Barfield. He is a pediatric oncologist at Duke, and he said he's started to think of his days as a coin that he's been given to spend. So each day is this coin, and you have to spend it, right? You can't save them up. You can't give it to someone else to spend. It's your coin. You spend it today. And the people in this room have chosen to spend a whole bunch of our limited supply of coins joining the profession of medicine. And here, of course, I'm speaking of coins both metaphorically and realistically. So because you are here, you must believe you are spending these coins wisely. I certainly believe that together we're spending our time on something worthwhile. And what is it that makes something worthwhile? Well, that's an important question, but it's not the type of question that you can get an answer to by doing a test or by being tested. We don't have a probe that we can put in you and find out what drives you, what makes an activity worthwhile to you. What is the purpose of your life? What gives it meaning and value? How should you spend your time? Scientific methods can't answer these questions. They have to be answered using other methods. And some people use religion or spirituality, others use humanism or literature, music, art, philosophy. I'm not here to give you an answer to that question, but to say these questions must be asked and answered. It's dangerous for all of us if we do not, as individuals and as members of this shared profession, continuously explore and find answers to these kinds of questions. I say this because my sense is the reason so many US physicians are depressed and disillusioned these days isn't just for all the tangible reasons that they usually give when we ask them about how medicine is changing, for example. It's really because they've lost view of the often intangible answers to these larger questions. Or maybe it's more accurate to say that they've been driven away from from answers that the profession of medicine could otherwise provide. There was a terrific book back in the 1980s. You don't have to read it right now, you'll have other reading. But this book divided all of life's activities basically into sort of two categories: finite games and infinite games. Finite games are activities where there's a defined time frame, where there are clear goals, where there are winners and losers, and the game comes to an end. So you play the game in order to get to the end, in order to finish it, and in order to win. So taking an ACT exam or an MCAT or an SAT, that might be seen as a finite game. Even getting a college degree in itself might be seen as a finite game. And needless to say, we do a pretty good job in medical school of recruiting and accepting people who are good at playing finite games and winning them. Infinite games are human activities that go on forever. Or at least we wish they would. They often have an important purpose, but they're activities without an obvious or a desired ending point. They are pursued because they bring value to our lives, more value even than winning or losing. And if you want a very tangible example of something like this, think about it as a game played in the late afternoon when you're a child and everyone in the neighborhood has gotten together to play the game. And if one of the teams starts to win too much or by too much, you change the rules or you switch up who's on the teams. Because the point isn't to win the game, the point is to play the game. The point is to get better, to be challenged, to have fun. Infinite games don't end, in part because in adult life they reflect aspects of the human experience that we sometimes call complex adaptive challenges. These are social problems that can't be solved using simply technical skills. Many of these types of problems are the things we grapple with in medicine, where you can't fix the entire thing. You can only work to get it better. Another reason infinite games don't end, though, is because we don't want them to. Infinite games have intrinsic worth on their own. Being involved in the activity itself gives life meaning and value. The profession of medicine is an infinite game. You will get better and better at it, but you won't win it. And it doesn't end. There are doctors out there, increasing numbers of them, who understand this. They live it every day, and they love what they do. They are the ones experiencing real joy in practice. You can find them. You can talk to them. I know this because the AMA is doing this right now. We've been talking to these doctors for the last couple of years. Before I tell you what they say, though, I have to give you a brief warning. Too often, medical school and residency training takes students like you who are good at winning finite games, but who are really here to partake in this infinite game. And we inadvertently, maybe subconsciously, we treat becoming a doctor as though it's just a series of finite games. Get an A in a class, move on to the next. Do well on a test, move on to the next. Each activity is just a stepping stone to the next activity. Think about the testing we make you go through. I'm sorry for this. The testing regime in medicine today has led some people to say that medical school is creating academic bulimics. Academic bulimics are people who cram a ton of information in, and as soon as the test is over, they forget it and move on to the next one. Cram a bunch of information, forget it. So rather than seeing and treating exams as a chance to assess knowledge and skills, to figure out where your weaknesses are, to get better, we start to see exams as just another obstacle to be overcome to get to the next step, and the next step, and the next step. So you're here today embarking on a path to lifelong learning, but sometimes it's going to feel like you're on some other path, a path to lifelong cramming and forgetting. But that path is ultimately pretty boring and entirely unfulfilling. Medical school should be different, and it can be. It might not always feel like it, but from now on, as you heard earlier, the reason you are learning is not to do well on a test. The reason you're learning is because someone's life and well-being, your own life and well-being too, hang in the balance. The test is just a checkpoint. Forgetting this is what leads to professional dissatisfaction. So now I'm going to let you in on the secret for how to avoid professional dissatisfaction. We don't have a secret handshake in medicine, but we do have this. The secret is we are creating, we are reinforcing, we are refining, we are remaking our professional culture all the time. In every ordinary choice we make, in every conversation we have about our work, in all that we say about our profession, we have to have these conversations because our profession is constantly changing and evolving. Doctors who love what they do understand this, that we are in constant conversation with each other and with the public about what it means to be a doctor. The word profession itself is a pretty good reflection of this. You all know you're entering a profession. Have you thought about what the word profession means? It comes from the root, profess, right? To speak out, to declare in public. You profess your love for your spouse at your wedding ceremony. So a profession is a group of people coming together to speak out and make public declarations together. What we're professing is the set of skills, attitudes, knowledge, values, behaviors, the things that the public can expect of us. Because we are creating our profession together every day, not just through acquiring technical knowledge and skills, which are important, but through coming together to talk about what it means to be a doctor, these conversations are an important aspect of our professional development and our professional lives. Reciting an oath, which you will do today, is really just the most obvious and the earliest of the many ways that we make these shared promises. Reciting an oath, I actually think, is mostly important for its symbolism, because it formally marks the beginning of your participation in this endless conversation. So from now on, I urge you to think and talk and write constantly about what promises you are making, explicitly and implicitly, when you put on this coat, when you sling that stethoscope around your neck. What are people expecting of you? What's the implicit message of putting that on? If you are taking part in that conversation about what it means to wear this white coat, you will always find joy in the practice of medicine. So our collective promises are found in real places. This isn't just abstract. We have codes of ethics. We have professional practice standards. We even have laws and regulations that govern our work. All of these are reflections of this ongoing conversation. So I say that because this means conversations about regulations, conversations about ethics, conversations about literature and art and how medicine is portrayed in movies and in television and so on. These are important conversations. They're not side conversations to the real part of medical school. This is the real part of medical school because this is about what brings meaning to our lives. So today, for example, it's becoming increasingly clear what makes a good doctor, a doctor who experiences joy in practice, isn't merely the ability to recite large numbers of medical facts immediately before or after an exam. It's how well you can lead a team. It's your skill at working in a system to ensure that every patient gets the care they need. It's your ability to engage patients in conversation, in shared decision-making, to help them learn to manage their conditions themselves better at home. It's the sensitivity, the values, the respect, the wonder, the love that you bring to patient-doctor relationships. So I'm here to welcome you to the profession of medicine and to this never-ending conversation about what that means. I'm reminded in closing of an old saying that if you don't own your culture will own you. Nowhere is this more true than in healthcare. At no time has it been more important for us to claim and shape the culture of medicine. You are joining this infinite conversation at a very exciting time. Welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Winnia, for those inspiring words. We're going to start the robing process in a moment. To welcome each of you to the medical profession, the School of Medicine will now present each of you with a white coat, symbolizing your entry to the medical profession and your commitment to uphold the duties and trust associated with medicine and medical training. Assisting Dr. Winnier and I with the robing will be several of our clinical faculty, Dr. Fran McGill, Dr. Patrick Rooney, Dr. Catherine Yarwood, Dr. Orrin Liddell, Dr. Danny Burns, Dr. Johansson Sylvester, Dr. Sala Bawazi, Dr. Frit Kotza, and in addition we have a few alumni whose children are in the first term, and they will be assisting us in robing this evening. Dr. Martin Stransky, Dr. Timothy McKinney, and Dr. Thomas Truitt, and Dr. Rajiv Narula. If they could come up. In recognition of our international enrollment, our Grand Marshal, Dr. Randall Wader, will announce each student's name and country of birth. Please hold your applause until all students have been robed. We ask the audience to remain seated and not interrupt the ceremony by taking pictures in the forward section of the hall, and we thank you in advance for your cooperation.
Matthew Novak, Montreal, Canada. Tyler Secor, Ohio, USA. Joseph Noel, New York City. Miriam Tesfoon, Eritrea. Delma Mark, Grenada. Ashley Maldonado Camacho, Puerto Rico. Fernanda Ponce, Mexico. Aquino A. Williams, Guyana. William Nam, Michigan. Gaurav Simlote, New York. Aaron Simonetti, Florida. Narinder Sangha, California. Hakeem Yusuf, Nigeria. Sadiq Togral, Afghanistan. If you have your white coat, unbutton it. Joe Rauscher, New York. Zalmay Ramoni, California. Carla Williams, Trinidad and Tobago. Justin Meyer, California. Amanda Petnado, Dudas, Montana. Elaine Marabelli, Philadelphia. Jennifer Morcamo, Wyoming. Bunaniwan Pratape, Florida. Jennifer Torres, Florida. Ali Qadri, New York. Feroz Umul, Germany. Alif Rahman, New York. Alaha Miriam, California. Pooja Yogi, California. Ankush Patel, Florida. Justin Peters, Phoenix, Arizona. Michael Skopolatis, New York. Jasper Zheng, United States, California. Yuri Skrubert, Florida. Tapik Sur, California. Sabor Shahid, New York. Abdul Rehman, New York. Hassan Naveed, New York. Raj Naik, North Carolina. Eric Uniman, New Jersey. Avanti Puri, Indiana. Danielle Torres, Texas. Rima Siddiqui, Michigan. Chinedu Ngwindike, Nigeria. Onyeka Nwachuku, Nigeria. Oma Orasan, Philip, Nigeria. Kevin Vasquez, New Jersey. Davinci Patel, Toronto, Canada. Surinder Sandhu, California. Buzmark Kenti Usumo, Kenya. Kadeen Ukumu Kamara, United Kingdom. Brian Rastian, California. Banu Swami, Michigan. Mary Strickland, Florida. Elena Mandrapalias, Ontario, Canada. Sugita Nithyananthan, Ontario, Canada. Jane L. Toronto, Canada. May Saman, Beirut, Lebanon. Alan Son, California. Okay. Keira Juliet Petruccelli, Orlando, Florida. Nikula Pettireddy, Michigan. Talisha Prasad, Guyana. Shailin Patel, California. Cynthia McKinney, New Jersey. She's going to be rowed by her father, Dr. Timothy McKinney, who's an alumnus of SGU. Tanvi Nadkarni, Illinois. Sumit Rohatgi, Florida. Christy Storer, Florida. Sukanya Vartak, Mumbai, India. Samuel Glenn, Treat, Arizona. Jennifer Virgil, New York. Uday Mathur, California. Paul Tarektikan, Maryland. Christopher Turzin, California. Rufus Samuel, Georgia, USA. Matthew Sarubi, New York. David Wang, Alberta, Canada. Mina Wild, Akita, Japan. Okay. Samir Narula, New York, USA. He's going to be robed by his father, Rajiv Narula, class of 1989 alumnus. Tyler Truitt, Virginia, USA. He will also be robed by his father, Thomas Truitt, class of 1989 alumnus. Sutasini Nitisuntoran, Thailand. Robert Nosito, New York. Lawrence Ohia, Nigeria. Tashaporn Sagwantanarat, Thailand. Rebecca Schuler, St. Petersburg, Florida. Salvatore Tamburello, Florida. Michael Robinson, Michigan. Amita Vena, Ohio. Tyra Reese, California. Lacey Shreve, Louisiana. Kelly Stanley, Indiana. Zachary McCabe, Massachusetts. Kyle McKee, Indiana. Ryan Reeby, California. Michael Mishalov, New Jersey. Elon Vavelin, Missouri. Jack Schneck, Minnesota. Sahil Muwala, New York. Andy Cheesock, California. Natalie Trong, California. Stefania Volpe, Florida. Alatsabosin Ajokunle, Florida, USA. Very good. Bridget Thomas, Florida. Terry Tobias, New Jersey. Gabrielle Jennifer Russell, Washington, District of Columbia. Sterling Webb, Colorado. George Nassar, Pennsylvania. Zachariah Sharif, Somalia. Paige Montford, Virginia. Alexandra V. Smith, Russia. Juan Rudales, Texas. Ijeoma Renee Ofoha, Georgia, USA. Camille Wilson, California. Azeen Sadat, Arizona. Samira Razudin, Indiana. Esther Emmanuel Udabung, Atlanta, Georgia. Rena Regarg, Vancouver, Canada. Nazanin Rezai, Tennessee. Uche Endo, California. Alexander Plachaki, Connecticut. Andrei Prishepov, Belarus. Pael Shah, New Jersey. Leon Shu, New York. Carlin Nelson, United States, Oklahoma. Amanda Meredith, Louisiana. Brenda Nyantanga, Zimbabwe. Kazim Oyedele, Nigeria. Asizaza Oziakime, Nigeria. Connor McGinley, Pennsylvania. Bhupendra Mahavar, born in India. Aniru Rai, California. Prashant Yamajala, Massachusetts. Virang Parikh, New York. Dawal Patel, Pennsylvania. Laura O, New York. Isabel Mora, Spain. Natalia Velez, Colombia. Yasna Yusuf, Toronto, Canada. Aditi Shaley, Toronto, Canada. Faryal Sheikh, Missouri. Tyler Mitchell, California. Tyler O'Neill, Massachusetts. Muaz Masood, Georgia, USA. Jessica Ziranthena Smeaton, California. Vijay Kumar Kosar Shah. Do you want Vishal? Vishal Vijay Kumar Gosar Shah, United Kingdom. Mark Benjamin Robertson, Pennsylvania. Antonia Stanislaus, Grenada. Shahrukh Mohsin, California. Joshua Stevens, Michigan. Mina Nagapan. Nagapan.
There you go.
California. Hugh McGovern, Maryland. Miguel Mamawag, Kentucky. Ripanjit Singh, Brampton, Canada. Khalil Saleh, California. Mastane Nikrovish, California. Rosa Sabi, Toronto, Canada. Tracy O'Brien, Connecticut. Adobe Umeku, Nigeria. Tomi Talabi, Chicago, Illinois. Richard Oyoung Schubert, Canada, Alberta, Canada. Ryan Weech, Bahamas. Alejandro Valdezsuso, Florida. Zelda Wasau, Kenya. Tracy Omoigbele, Texas. Jeanette Williams, Ghana. Tuwalanime Tola Adelani, Nigeria. Sean Winkle, Arizona. Huy Nguyen, Vietnam. Amir Mohidin, California. Amir Riaz, Florida. Burhan Riaz, Florida. Mohammed Saik, United Kingdom. Joshua Reese, New Jersey. Griselda Martinez Maldonado, Paraguay. Angela Mahandiran, Toronto, Canada. Arun Raju, Pennsylvania. Olajumoke Rita Ogunde, Nigeria. Mohammed Rashad Tar, California. Stephen Pokriva, New Jersey. Ashish Zala, Florida. Michael Seaman, Manitoba, Canada. Saeed Wahid Moeed, Illinois. Max Murray Ramcharan, Trinidad and Tobago. Aaron Mather Fairfield, Trinidad and Tobago. Dhruv Patel, United Kingdom. Carol Lillian Nyoki, Kenya. Gabrielle Intabikaini, Uganda. Jason McKinley, British Columbia, Canada. Samir Qadri, Florida. Michael Zales, New Jersey. Chinyama Munakampe, Zambia. Ahmed Mohammed, Ohio. Alicia Wilhelm, Florida. Latika Patel, New Jersey. Kritika Madari, Delaware. Jason Moss, Maryland. Tasnia Azmani, Florida. Marine Maksoud, California. Sarah Zuber, Toronto, Canada. Nikisha Thomas, Trinidad and Tobago. Joanna Suku, Trinidad and Tobago. Melissa Roberts, Grenada. Anisha Noel, Trinidad and Tobago. Nathan Razbania, California. Rojin Tajmir, Iran. Alan Shalmiev, New York. Maxim Shmargan, Ukraine. Leslie Ray, Virginia. John Luca Tripodi, Connecticut. Anna Sanchez, Florida. Johan Sanchez, Florida. Bishoy Nazir, Toronto, Canada. Logan McDermott, Minnesota. Enrique Valerio, Florida. Ellen Wegner, Wisconsin. Julia Schuster, Washington, D.C. Marissa Moore, North Carolina. Omid Paknejad, Arizona.
Thank you, boys. Okay, we're almost there. If I can ask all the students and any physicians in the audience to stand up and join us in reciting the professional commitment that's found in your pamphlets. And just repeat it with me, please. Today is the beginning of my medical education and training as a physician. I acknowledge my responsibility to continue the pursuit of knowledge and understanding until that day when I will cease to be a practicing physician. I am entering training for a noble profession in which my interest must always be subservient to those who may seek my assistance. I must be ever conscious of the value of my fellow health professionals and treat them with respect at all times. My classmates at St. George's University are now my colleagues, and I owe to them the same support and encouragement to achieve their goals as I hope to receive from them. I will work alongside my colleagues and professors with tolerance, compassion, and honesty. I acknowledge my obligation to adhere to the University Honor Code and to conduct myself with integrity in an ethical manner at all times henceforth. I shall do all within my power to show in myself an example of all that is honorable and good throughout my medical career. It is a privilege to have been given the opportunity to become a physician. May I be ever conscious of that privilege and never abuse it. Please be seated. It indeed is a privilege to be given the opportunity to become a physician. I congratulate all of you on this occasion as you begin your journey in our honored profession. Dr. Gold himself once said, "A physician's responsibility is not only to take care of the patient, but also to care for patients." In about 4.5 years or so from now, we'll be getting together again in New York to recite another oath based on the Hippocratic Oath written in 400 BC. In fact, on the 25th anniversary of my own becoming a physician, I, along with a group of emergency physicians from around the world, had the honor of reciting the Hippocratic Oath at a ceremony in Hippocrates' temple on the island of Kos in Greece. On behalf of St. George's University School of Medicine, I wish to thank the Arnold Gold Foundation for the Humanism in Medicine lapel pin that was placed on each of the students' white coats. I would like to thank Chancellor Modica, Dr. Winier, our students, honored guests, their parents, family, friends, faculty, and staff for attending this evening as these young students begin their lifelong journey learning the art and science of medicine. Please remain seated until our faculty and students have exited behind our Grand Marshal, and I invite all of you to join us at the Lewis and Marion Modica Hall for a reception, and that's located at the top of the hill. Thank you all for your attention and have a pleasant evening.